Hey y'all, welcome back to another Mask Monday. I'm super excited because today I get to talk about one of my favorite zombie films of all time, Zombie. Alright, so as I said, we're going to talk about Fulci's Zombie today. There's also called Zombie 2 or just Zombie. There's a bunch of different names for this. In fact, I brought a list so I could remember them all. I'm also going to ruin a lot of the names. But we have Sangweya, The Island of the Living Dead, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Zombie, Zombie the Dead Walk Among Us, Giotimi Zombie, Voodoo, Les Inferde Zombies, Zombie 2, The Dead Are Among Us, and Nightmare Island. I kind of like calling it Zombie 2 and like without the E on there just because it was the original release, but it really wasn't supposed to be released like that. Lucio Fulci just wanted it to be called Zombie, which is how it was released in America. The whole reason for that was when Dawn of the Dead came out in Italy, it was super popular, and so the production company wanted to capitalize on that. In Italy, Dawn of the Dead was released as Zombie, so they just released this movie as Zombie 2 against the permission of the director Fulci. When it got released in America, they called it Zombie, and Fulci was happy about that. But it's also fun to just call it Zombie 2. We have the two kind of poster childs. We have the poster zombie, which is known as the worm zombie. He's got all these nasty worms in his eye. And then we have the boat zombie, which is the first zombie that you see. So let's take a look at that one first. All right, so as I said before, this is the boat zombie. It's the first zombie that you see in the film. He's called the boat zombie because the movie basically opens up on this little boat that's floating just outside of New York. The tide's bringing it in, and they're trying to radio to it, and they can't get a hold of anybody, so they send the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard doesn't find any people, but they do find our big boy here, the boat zombie. It's clear that he's just eaten everybody on that boat, and he's the only thing that's left. It's such an amazing sculpt by Mikey Rotella. I know he's a huge zombie fan, so I'm sure he jumped at the chance to be able to sculpt a zombie from that movie. Gianetto De Rossi was the makeup designer and like effects person for Lucio Fulci's movies. He also had a whole team that worked on everything, of course, so I'm not sure exactly who did the makeup for this zombie for the movie, but it came out awesome. He's such a distinctive zombie. He doesn't really look like pretty much any other zombie that I can think of. He's a really big guy, and most zombies are really skinny and emaciated, but it makes sense because he just ate everybody on that boat. And the sculpt is just incredible. It's a classic Mikey Rotella sculpt. He doesn't leave any bit of the mask not super detailed and textured. There's so much detail and intricate stuff going on. It's very gravelly. There's like this gross, like cracked out look to it, and he's just like covered in just nasty stuff. These gross like cauliflower ears, and then the top of his head here is just like completely like rotted away. It's just this like red scalp, and then the skin that's again very like kind of almost tough and gravelly is just rotting away at it. There's all these different points where it's just totally rotted, like on the forehead, and I think over like here on the neck and the back of the head, there's all these little spots where the skin's just completely gone, but it's like nasty and red under. It's not like brown like you would typically see in a zombie. And then speaking of red, obviously his mouth is just covered in blood. He probably ate just a bunch of people on that boat. Just a really cool design, really cool idea for the movie. And Mikey just did an amazing job at replicating it in sculpture form for a mask. The paint job's really cool on this too. It's like that classic like white gray that most of the zombies in Fulci's Zombie are. And then they did like a black rub out on it. His eyes are like totally blacked out, just very sunken in. And then again, just with the red all over his mouth and all the way down his neck, all the blood. So it's just a really awesome mask. I mentioned in the introduction that I have been wanting to do this movie for a long time. I've never had the chance, and it's because we just never seem to have both of these masks here at the same time. One is always sold out. The boat zombie is sold out right now, but I made Steven bring me his personal copy, so shout out to Steven. Thank you for bringing it so I could finally do my favorite zombie movie for Mask Monday. Tied with Return of the Living Dead, I guess, but Zombie's a much more serious film, and you get the voodoo zombies and all that. It's in Haiti and everything, so this is just one of my favorite movies of all time, and the boat zombie is just totally iconic. But let's look at the most iconic zombie from the movie, which is the worm zombie. Alright, so as I said, this is the most iconic zombie from Fulci's Zombie. This is the worm zombie. He's on everyone's t-shirts and posters and everything. He's called the worm zombie for obvious reasons. His right eye is just covered in worms. His introduction in the film is really cool. A lot of times you don't get to see zombies actually come out of the ground, but with this one you do, and it's a really cool, effective one where one of the main characters is laying down on the ground, exhausted, and he just kind of sits up, and this dirt and nastiness and like more worms are just like falling off of him and stuff. There's a few zombies with like worms on them in Zombie. It's one of the looks that they went for, but obviously this one's the most iconic because his eye is just full of worms, and they're real worms too. I think that they did a couple of like just like clay noodles to keep them there, but like the bulk of them you can tell are just real worms. And speaking of real worms and real animals anyways in a movie, they also use a real shark in this movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, you have to see it just for the shark first zombie scene. But if you have seen it, then you already know how cool it is. It's just insane that they did that and they got away with it. Thank you 1979 for letting that happen. This sculpt is incredible. It's done by Justin Mabry. I'm sure that Mikey Rotella had, an argument with Justin trying to sculpt this one, as Mikey has the worm zombie tattooed on his arm actually. But Justin won that argument, being the owner of the company. As we've grown to expect from Justin, this is a perfect replication of the poster zombie. I mean, there's a picture of the zombie right next to it. And when you look at the tag and you look at the mask, it's the exact same thing. Justin's just incredible at replication and adding his little flair and his little design stuff to it. Once again, with this sculpt, it's very gravelly, very textured. He just came out of the dirt, so he's got texture all over him. I think the big difference with the paint job from this one and the boat zombie is the boat zombies seem to have a rub out, whereas this one I think they basically started with a brown and black base that they stippled this kind of gray white color on top of. Yeah, worms are colored like worms, and the teeth are just really nasty and yellow and brown and decayed. We've had this one copy of this mask at the store for a while. Trick or Treat Studios is sold out of both of them right now, but I've yelled at everyone never to sell this mask because I want to do this video, and I had the boat zombie on order but it never came in. So again, made Steven bring me his so I could finally do this video. I'm super excited to show off these masks, and this one mask, now that I've made this video, I'm buying. But hopefully October, which is around when this will be coming out, we'll be getting more in. As soon as Tots has more, we're going to order more. So yeah, it's a great paint job, great sculpt by Justin, and it's just one of the coolest zombies of all time for one of the best zombie movies ever made. Alright, so that's going to do it for this week's Mask Monday. I hope you enjoyed the zombie masks. They're definitely two of my favorite masks that Tots has ever put out. They're totally perfect. Hope you enjoyed them. Like, share, subscribe, visit us at nightmaretoys.com, and we'll see you next week for another Mask Monday.